Welcome to Roundhouse Roulette, a Walker, Texas Ranger podcast. I'm Evan Dalton, here with my brother Adam.
What's going on?
And our fellow Walkerologist, Mr. Bob Leahy.
Greetings and salutations.
Well, normally we'd be recapping and reviewing one of the 200 existing Walker, Texas Ranger episodes randomly selected by Roundhouse Roulette. But today we're excited to bring you our special guest, Senior Colorist Ara Thomassian, who's been working on a wide range of shows, including Empire, American Horror Story, and What We Do in the Shadows. But of course, for our purposes, we will not be speaking about these. We're going to be talking about one thing we have in common, which is that we've spent many hours in a dark room with Walker, Texas Ranger. Ara, in his case, during his recent remaster and conversion to HD, which is of utmost interest to us, I guess. So, Ara, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on, man.
No, man. Yeah.
I can't remember who I said this to exactly, but I really do feel like your guys' podcast was made specifically for me. So after, I don't know if I told you guys this story, but I had not seen one Walker Texas Ranger episode prior to me working on it, which is weird because like I fit that demo completely when it was airing. Like,
yeah,
as I was a kid, I loved pro wrestling. Like, I loved martial arts. It would have been like right up my alley, but somehow just didn't watch an episode. But then I got like a call from Paramount about remastering it, and it actually turned out to be like one of the funnest gigs I've ever done. So, but yeah, and with that said, and going back to the story, yeah, so I would finish an episode and it was amazing, and I had no one to talk to about it, just like with. So I just started looking up like that. There's got to be a podcast. There's got to be something. And then Roundhouse Roulette came up, and I just started listening to an episode, and I loved it. And I would color an episode, and then go on the drive home and see if that episode existed. And I found it, and I listened to it. I was like, yeah, these guys get it. They're So yeah, thank you guys, man. You've brought much entertainment into my life.
Oh, wow. No, we have been searching for an audience, and we are just glad that we've got an audience of one, man. Thank you.
There we go.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, my only regret is that we haven't finished all the episodes yet. So you probably should have taken like 20 years to finish.
How many in are you guys total wise so far?
Oh man,
60 something.
60 something. But we had to slow down because during the pandemic, I can't believe we were doing it once a week. You know.
Oh wow, yeah.
And we edit these podcasts because we would otherwise it would sound like crap. So
and it would be 3 hours. You know,
we were doing them.
Stay on for a while.
We were doing them so often that like Walker was mirroring the real world.
Yeah, the pandemic episode. I remember that one. Yeah.
The pandemic one. There was the whole racial reckoning, and then we were trying to grapple with that through Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little hazy. Yeah, but
pretty nuts.
Yeah, dude. It touched on a lot of issues. It's kind of interesting, right? It was way ahead of its time.
Totally. Well, can you explain to us what a colorist does? Because I think it's something that we take for granted, you know.
That's a good question, because every time I bring it up to someone, they think I do hair. So yeah. No, so basically, just to like kind of simplify it, coloring TV shows is basically kind of like the way Photoshop is for images, right? Like just like a picture is kind of what we do for TV. For newer shows, you kind of sit with like directors and cinematographers, producers, art directors, a lot of people to like make a tone and portray their show through digital grading. Now, before it was all digital, people would do this like chemically, right? So like a good example is think of like The Matrix, right? That stuff was all green. Well, it wasn't shot green, it was shot normal, but then it was like chemically transferred.
They took a print of it and then chemically altered that print?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then around, I might have my history wrong on this, but around 2001, 2002, when Oh Brother, Where Art Thou came out, that kind of was the first big digital color grading job, right? Oh. So since then, it's kind of taken off, and now everything is done digitally, except for like some purists like Christopher Nolan, Paul Thomas Anderson. Anyway, so yeah, that's more new shows. For remastering color, what we basically do is we have, the aired version kind of as a reference. And since we're bumping it up to a new resolution, we are matching, but just kind of improving it a little more. Just kind of not improving is the wrong word, giving it a little bit of like snap to kind of make sure that transfers onto new TVs, new resolution, but kind of have that same feel. So we're not changing a lot. We're actually matching, just kind of adding a little more snap.
Okay. So now with the original Walker show was in like 4:3 for TV because, like nowadays it's like all widescreen shows are shot for that. Yeah. But now, if you're taking Walker and he's a 4:3 dimension show, and what was it filmed on? Like,
so that's a good question. The whole show was shot on 16 millimeter film. So you bring up a really good point. TV framing was 4:3 back then. So we actually did two versions. We would do just a regular 4:3, and then we would do a 16:9 version, which is I think what's airing on Peacock right now. Okay. Since the remaster is out. So what we actually ended up doing is the first few seasons, since it was like 4:3, you actually kind of have to do a pan and scan. So you push in and get that 16:9. So you are losing a little bit of the image. The good news is I think after season 2 or 3, the numbering is all weird too, by the way. The ones that aired aren't necessarily the episode numbers that were shot, which is kind of odd. That we found out like while we were going through it. But anyway, so season 3 was Super 16, which is actually like the original image was 16:9. But again, they were like counting on it to go out on a 4:3 image. So every once in a while, like on the edge, you would see like a dude standing there or like camera equipment. You're like, oh, what the hell is this?
Okay.
Because when they shot it, they had that framing and they're just like, whatever, we don't care.
Yeah, this will never show. No problem.
It's not like this is going to be in a movie theater. Right?
Yeah, and then 30 years later, here I am like, what the hell is that? Is that a guy? It's a person. Standing there.
That's great.
We'll have to look back. We had a couple episodes where you could see the boom, and I wonder if maybe that was one of those.
Yeah, we caught stuff that was that passed QC originally, and we caught this way around. I want to say, knock on wood, those are all gone now. So that'd be actually fun for you guys to go on Peacock and be like, I remember this episode had that.
Yeah. Okay, so my worry was, they might not have had that additional content for most of the series, but you're saying that you didn't really have to crop besides the first few seasons.
I think it was like the first 2 or 3 seasons were 16 millimeter, and then it went to Super 16, which is the 16:9 image. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. So they take those, they scan those in at probably like some insane resolution to future proof it, right?
Yeah, I believe they scanned it actually at real 4K. So not UHD, higher than that. Yeah.
Okay. And then that way they're pretty much set for once, streaming's over, the next thing after that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The holographic streaming or whatever.
Yeah. That'll probably be the next thing. So,
yeah.
Cool. So that was the print, right? So it was kind of already colored and you're just kind of making sure it's maybe a little more.
This stuff was actually all in log. Like they went back to the original stuff. Do you guys know what log is? It's basically just like the uncolored. No. So if you look at like a raw image, right, you could shoot something that's basically called raw. And when you see it, it almost looks like a little blown out, uncontrasty. If you guys ever Google it, just put like raw image and it'll pop up. It looks like uncontrasty and almost like unsaturated. Oddly enough for us colorists, that gives us the most range because we get to crunch stuff down at contrast. That's our starting point. They went back to the raw film for this stuff.
Okay, so that was even before any of the original coloring was done. So you had kind of full range to do it.
My starting point was basically the starting point of the original colorist, Dan Judy, who I got to meet, who was awesome, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
You were saying you tapped off for him, right?
Yeah. I did most of the first 6. I got some help from another colorist named Steve Repsch. And then, yeah, I got a really good job offer at another post house that I had to take. And it was really wise on Paramount's end to bring in the original colorist. So he came in and I was like, you're a legend. Like, oh my God. Like, and he was really cool. It was weird sitting with him and he's watching me color like my last couple weeks. And I'm like, is this cool? I hope I'm not like ruining what you're doing. And he's like, no, you're doing great, kid. Blah.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. How old is this guy?
I believe he's 60 now.
Okay.
He was the coolest guy. He took over and finished the last 2 seasons. And yeah, he's such a nice guy.
So when you're getting into coloring, like when people are on like a film set, we don't really know that much about this. And maybe our listeners don't, well, you do because you're one listener, but yeah, maybe we shouldn't get into this.
No, I said they will. They're gonna learn, guys.
Okay, all right.
They're gonna learn today. No.
Yeah,
this is a learning podcast. I mean,
the more you know. So when you're filming on a TV show or on a movie set, it's all raw footage. And I was looking, you did a lot of coloring for dailies on film sets, right?
I did a little bit of dailies color, yeah.
So is that's like taking the raw footage that if you saw it, you'd be like, whoa, this isn't right. This doesn't like feel like a movie. And then you kind of do like a ballpark thing for people to look at and be like, oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so dailies color is before it goes to the final colorist, which is me now. But yeah, when I was doing daily, so basically you take all the footage that was shot, let's say, over the night, right? And then it goes to Daly's colorist and they throw a color correction on it because as soon as it's done to us, it goes to the editors and they start cutting the stuff into the episodes right away. And they want to cut in something with color because that stuff is going to go to like the executives and producers and they want to see something that has like color on it rather than just that raw image. Yeah, that's what dailies is for. And dailies is like you try to kind of have some of the tone there, but you don't do a lot of the stuff that final colorists do, which is you could throw like a window on someone's face if it's like dark, if it's not getting enough light, you can bring that up. Or you can change certain colors, like you can key the red in certain, let's say, roses and turn it to, be yellow or blue, stuff like that. For dailies, it's more like just get it in and get it out with a color as quick as possible.
And so coloring, it's like you take one of the most vibrant superheroes in the world, like Wonder Woman, and then Zack Snyder's guy is like, yeah, you're not going to see any color, right? Is that what happens?
Man, I actually dig. I dig Snyder's color palette. I
but
I know
that's what they did, right? Like,
yeah,
they just like they tinned it. It's all about. That's like an extreme example of what you can do, I guess, is what I'm saying.
That's their palette. Yeah, like for Man of Steel, for instance. Yeah, that got a lot of response on the internets. But I personally dug it, man. It's funny. A lot of people were like recoloring it online, like, oh, this is what Superman's costume would be if it was actually blue, blah blah blah. But no, man, I dug all that stuff.
Totally, dude. I've got Batfleck back here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a question for you. It's funny. I actually work for Avid, so you guys probably. Oh, nice. I didn't know that you were at Keep Me Posted, but I know you guys have a lot of our stuff and. I kind of came up through like Media Composer support and then worked for the engineering teams. And I know this probably happened before you got any of this stuff, but did you actually have the original film or I guess the people that kind of did the edits? And did you have like EDLs and ingest all this stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the footage was actually scanned, not at Paramount, at this other company called MTI. And they were responsible for not only scanning all the footage for the episodes, but also cutting together the episodes. I don't know exactly what specific editing program they used, but yeah, they originally would just give me like a file, a DPX stack of the entire episode. And at some point I was like, can you guys get me an EDL? So an EDL basically cuts up each clip. Before that, I was doing it manually, which just kind of
look at it. What do you have, like the episode up on one screen and just scrubbing around trying to?
I'm literally going through like every frame. Basically, I'm just hitting play, and I'm like, if it's a new cut, I'm like, oh, stop.
Oh man,
cut that up there. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I got quick at it though.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
A newer TV show has, let's say, X amount of time on it, a remastering job, you're basically cut in half to do that. So we had to be quick on this. We had to get stuff in and out. But yeah, luckily we reached out to MTI and they were super awesome and they got us the EDLs for each episode.
That's cool.
And with that said, one thing that I did become responsible for is, as you guys know, around season 3 or 4 of Walker, the transitions got a little interesting. Yeah. Right. So when I remember this day, like I had just started the first season and I was like, this is cool. It's a great job. And, it's been pretty, knock on wood, pretty easy. And I was at my parents' house and they were going through, just switching channels. And my dad's like, hey, look, Walker's on,
It's always on.
Yeah, exactly. Always on. Yeah. And I could tell it was like a different season out. And, it went from one shot, one scene to another, and it just did this whoosh. and I was like, well, what the fuck was that? Like, what the hell was that? So I when I started hitting those, I had to be responsible for recreating all of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you stay true to the camp?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did it literally, like I matched frame to frame of like each one of those transitions. Wow. Whether it zoomed into an eye, a badge, or whatever it was. I was
an
like
eagle's eye.
All the eagle's eye.
Turn bright red, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It was that stuff was like that added time too. I was like, oh my God. Like, oh.
Wait, so these transitions weren't on the original print?
No.
Okay.
Some of them were. I take that back. Some of them were not that crazy. Slower, like push-ins and whatnot, but not that patented Walker Texas Ranger Zoom dissolve or whatever we called it. Not only that, they got into other stuff. I was waiting for like a star wipe or something. That never happened, but it was like pages folding. I had to figure out how to recreate that stuff on the fly.
Oh my God.
That's great.
Now the question is, whoever did the sound, are they gonna add those effects?
Yeah, did you have to go?
They probably.
That's no, I did all the sound effects. I kid about that. I actually don't know. I don't know anything about the sound. I don't know if they just pulled the original sound from these like aired files or what.
The big thing for us is because if we can get isolated sound effects from Walker Texas Ranger, it's kind of like the dream for us.
Man, that'd be killer.
The raw recordings.
I need to verify the same punch sound is used for every punch. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So
yeah. I do have to, speaking about sound, I really do love when you guys kind of recreate dialogue from the episodes at the end of your podcast, like
like our advertisements?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so good. That's like chef's kiss. Love it.
I didn't want you to say that. That means Adam's going to keep making them.
Yeah, do it.
Evan's like, we can reuse these, man. I'm like, dude, no, we got to tie it into the episode because it's like we get to do the most ridiculous thing that happened.
So can I ask you guys a question for you guys? So you guys watched it during the original run, right? So how is it watching it all these years later? Are certain episodes better? Are you guys like remembering things like, oh, this wasn't as like, what's the consensus on watching it 30 years later?
Well, I mean, we never really stopped watching it. That's the problem. So, because Evan and I watched like the last few seasons really on TV is when we were watching it, and saw the white buffalo crying, which that one we have yet to spin. And I hope it holds up to memory. But, when you have a digital tier of a buffalo, I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah.
As teenagers, we were incredibly sarcastic. So I think we've just kind of gotten old, but our take on the episodes. I think it's pretty much the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like pizza, right? Like there's no bad pizza. The episodes are all good. It's just what different layers of amazing is it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. How many pepperonis are on top? How many roundhouse kicks are in the episode? Yeah.
I recently had pizza from a place called Pizza Pirate, and it was actually bad pizza.
No.
Bad? No, that's the first one ever.
Sorry, it was no. It was like someone took a pizza. It was like prop movie pizza. It was like someone took pizza and removed the soul from it.
Evan,
and that's what was left behind.
I was trying to get him to go too because it's called Pirate Pizza. I'm like, dude, they have a 6 saber on their logo. I was like, you gotta go to this place.
They got pirate flags on the desk and everything.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, we were looking at the reviews for it, and all the reviews are like, well, it's good pizza if you're picking it up for the soccer team. So I'm like, well, yeah, at the end of the day, it is pizza though, man. It can't be that terrible. I'm gonna have to try it when I'm down.
When you come back, we're getting pirate pizza, and I'm gonna make you eat the whole thing.
I'm in for the challenge. But
right.
But Walker, man, we got the DVDs when they started coming out, and for whatever reason, they released like the last season first, and then went back to the first one and started releasing them. So we started getting those as they came out. I took him to college, and that's where Bob and I were watching him after, like, we played in the band, so we'd get back and we'd watch Walker after the gigs and stuff. And
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
After the show ended, they had like 2 made-for-TV movies, right?
It's weird because I think they took some of the episodes and made them, like the 2-parters, into branding them as a movie.
Yeah.
I think they are in the series. I could be wrong on that. We should know. But there was one, Trial by Fire or something like that.
Yeah.
That is only available in the full DVD box set right now, and I checked, and it's not on Peacock, so they didn't add it.
I never colored that one. I was bummed.
Yeah.
I actually never colored, like, being again a big pro wrestling guy. I was bummed I never made it to the Hulk Hogan episode. I did do the Roddy Piper one, which is awesome.
We haven't done that one yet.
That one was amazing.
The Hulk Hogan one wasn't good.
It's like an underground fighting ring in a prison. Is that one?
The Piper or Hogan one?
The Piper one.
The Piper one, he has like a monologue with God through a light in the tree, which was great.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. That one, all joking aside, that episode was pretty good. It was,
nice. I can imagine coloring Hulk Hogan's spray tan would be particularly difficult.
One of the so I did do a little bit of remaster coloring on Baywatch, and it like there was the episode where him and Macho Man were in it, and I was like, I'm grabbing this one, and I did a little bit, and then I got caught up on something else, and my other friend ended up coloring it, making it look amazing. But I was a little bummed. I'm like, damn it, again.
I just got to bump it up just enough so he doesn't quite look like an Oompa Loompa, but he still looks like Hulk Hogan.
So what would you're just getting into, I'm not just getting this, I mean, you lived it. You've lived the Walker life. How would you explain the show Walker, Texas Ranger to somebody?
Oh my God, that's tough, bro. You can't. You just have to experience it, right? What's funny about it too is obviously, since not watching it, I didn't know what to expect, and it's just entertainment, man. It's just a good time. It touches on every single subject, like you said. I mean, there was a pandemic episode. There was like, I never got to the time travel. See, that's another thing. I love time travel. I never got to that episode either. And also, like with everything else, don't take it too serious. It's just fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun.
It's an escapist TV show. They really don't make shows like this anymore.
No, they don't, man. And I think one of you guys touched on this. Like, this was during a time they didn't really have like 1-episode movies, and that's what Walker, Texas Ranger was. I mean, there was ones that were to be continued and blah, 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 and I get like solved next week, but from beginning till end, there was a whole story shot on film, and it wasn't like necessarily all on set. They'd be out and about, locations other than set. They put a lot of production value into it. That's another thing I noticed, aside from, the crazy transitions. The first season, like there was maybe an explosion, maybe a little VFX, but their viewership must have jumped up because second season, it was like, maybe it was third season. There was that blown away episode where it was just like
blowing everything up.
Oh my
gosh. The whole block was like
Yeah, that's like great. The pinnacle so far.
Explosion. Yeah. Yeah. That's another one of my favorite episodes from you guys, from your podcast. I don't remember which one it was, but someone's like, I'm rating this a 6. And then like 20 seconds later, they're like, nope, never mind. It's an 8. It's an 8. It's an 8. It was amazing. I take it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so far, that's probably the best episode we've come across.
That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did buy out a neighborhood and blow it up, right? There was a bunch of houses that were going to be demolished, and they just we'll take care of that.
Unbelievable.
My wife, when I started listening to you guys, we were going somewhere, whether it was the store or something. She walked into the car, and my Bluetooth just started playing what was on my phone, and it was your guys' podcast. She's like, "What is this?" I was like,
"What are these guys?"
"Oh, this is the Walker Texas Ranger podcast I'm listening to." And she's like, she just started loving it. I was like, "What? This is perfect." But yeah,
man,
that's when you turn to her and you say, "I need help."
You said you did some of the transitions, so you think they might have had to redo, like, I know there's one episode where there's like a plane explodes, but it's like some just like footage of a plane, and you could tell they superimposed like an explosion.
Is it the one where it just does this? Yeah, I remember that one.
Layer the explosion over the top. Did that have to be redone?
Yeah, so certain ones I did. I would do this mixture, so we would have the plate, which is what they call the shot without like the VFX on it. So we had that, and the VFX guy, I can't remember his name. This is horrible, but he would redo a lot of them too. But sometimes he was booked and we had to get an episode out. So what I kind of did is I did this like in between thing where I would take the aired episode and I would just cut out the VFX and put it against the backdrop, which was the high, resolution plate. So especially for the, I can't remember the episode, but like season 2's, there was like the
oil rig one.
Not that one.
The helicopter explodes.
Not that one. There was like an episode. There was an evil Native American
Shadows in the Night.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
That one.
That one. Yeah. So a lot of the.
Yeah, Evan loves that one. He can't wait to get to that one.
That one's dude. Yeah, that one's great. Yeah. So a lot of that, the VFX is just the aired VFX put over a new plate.
Okay. To recreate it would have been a pain, right?
It would have taken a lot of time, and we had to get these things out ASAP. Yeah.
Okay.
I bet it wouldn't. Plus, you wouldn't want to do it like too well, right?
That's another thing.
Yeah. That episode for sure.
A second.
Yeah.
You want to make the 90s VFX be 90s VFX. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That one's epic. Oh, so good.
Can you talk about the intro sequence? Because I've watched one so far on Peacock, and I was like, oh, dude, Chuck Norris is like jumping out at me at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that one is totally new. So the background is new. There's also, I think season 1, there was one shot at the tail end. It's Chuck Norris putting on his hat. That footage, they never found it. So the footage, we had to find like another shot of Chuck Norris putting on a hat, and that's what's in there now. So it's not exactly the same shot as what originally aired. Just a fun nerd fact about Walker Texas Rangers intro.
Yeah, cool. Well, but you guys kind of had to redo the intro for streaming. Presumably, you took a good amount of time getting that done because that's going to be in every single one.
Yeah, we had to have titles, recreate the Walker Texas Ranger like
font library.
Because it's exactly because it's doesn't exist like the
what is it? It's not Arial. What is it? Something like that?
It's like font? Doesn't it have like that weird shadowing? It's like kind of a faux Western from like a 90s computer.
Yeah, and actually, what's funny is we had a Tyler named Ron Garcia, and he killed it. He killed it on it. He found like almost a match, like to the T, and he recreated all that stuff.
Wow.
With that said, was it like season 2 when they started incorporating the song he sings, "Eyes of a Ranger"?
It may have been. I think it was even later than that.
Oh, it could have been halfway through season 2. I think something like crazy like maybe. That. It was something weird like that.
Yeah, that was the perfect like theme to the whole show.
Yeah, it kind of was. Now, in these remasters, though, and I haven't gotten checked, those other original intros don't exist.
No, there is. Whatever intro was in
the original soundtrack.
Yeah,
okay.
The first season is I think the one you guys hate the most.
Is the first one the 80s one, or is it that other kind of?
I think it's the 80s one. Yeah, I think it's the 80s one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first season is all that. Awesome. Season 2 had like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was almost like murder mystery, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it was like ethereal.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. That's the one. And then I remember when I started, I'm like, what? Man, I like the 80s one before, and then it hit Eyes of a Ranger, and I was like, this is it.
That's the one. That's the keeper.
It kind of encompasses the insanity of having Chuck Norris sing, and that's why we love the show.
Yeah, exactly. I need to have that as my ringtone.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, what is one of like the favorite episodes you saw of all the ones that you worked on?
Oh man. So I did mention the Roddy Piper one. Mm-hmm. The Blown Away one was really good, but I think my favorite would have to be maybe it was the IRA episode.
Yeah.
That's two part. Because the episode was so amazing, but also because that's also my favorite podcast from you guys with all you're like, what accent is this, man? It's just like they're rolling their R's, like those twofold. I had such a blast coloring it. Now they jump out the window at the end. It's just like, it's so good. It's so good. Everything.
That's actually like and if I could retcon the podcast, I'd give that a 10. Like hands down. I think back to my favorite episodes, and that one always springs to the top. Like, that's so bizarre.
One, man, what else? I actually, you know what? This is more like for a color standpoint. I loved how all the Cooper, like the flashback ones.
Oh, sepia toned Cooper episodes. Yeah. Hayes Cooper.
Hey, thank you, Hayes Cooper. Yeah, I loved how all those ended up looking. And
so thank you for bringing that up. So did you have to sepia tone those episodes?
Yes. Yeah.
And those weird pixelated like faux line drawing transitions.
Oh, yes.
That was funny.
Oh my God, the PTSD from that. Now.
How did you guys do that? How'd you
Dude, that? So that again, same. We had to match the plate to the aired footage in a way where it just like magic is basically it, man. We had to do this like slow, like you're not gonna notice this, like, but we basically went to the original footage that aired for that. We up-res the original footage for that because we wanted it to look exactly how the aired stuff did for that. Dude, I don't even know how to describe that. Like, I looked for an effect. I was like, is this nope, nothing would match it exactly. So
I think that was a student's art project.
Yeah.
I don't know. It probably took that computer like 2 days to generate that too back in the 90s, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The clients too from CBS, there was an awesome client. His name was Peter Molnar, and also from Sony, the Sony side, Rita. And dude, they were awesome. Again, just like you guys, they would come in the room and just enjoy the episodes. Like they'd be like, hold on, go back. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that happened. Okay.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, like, there had to have been a few moments where you were working on this and then all of a sudden you just had to stop and be like,
oh yeah.
Like do a look around and be like, what just happened here?
There was a lot of that. There was off the top of my head, there was an episode that was based in Miami where Trevette was like undercover, but I think Walker was undercover too. Anyway, there was like a giant bodyguard. The fight with him and Chuck Norris was like awesome. It was by a pool in Miami. I think it was it was drug related too. Like, anyway.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. So, this big like bodyguard, you could tell he was acting, but they wanted to make it seem like he knew martial arts. And there was one part where he just like threw off a bunch of dudes and then there was this slow motion shot of him just kind of like moving his arms in the air, like in a martial arts pose. And we were like, what is that? Like, that's right. Did he? All right. Like,
he's from the Seagal School of Martial Arts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. The jumping out of the building for the IRA episode was another. We were like, go back. Say we're going home. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Did you do the Sons of Thunder episode when he
I did. Yes, thank you for reminding me. That's something I wanted to add, like talk to you guys about. The stunts on that episode, I think, right? That was the hot air balloon one.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's nuts, dude.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
Oh man.
That's another thing that really stepped up too after season 1 is the stunts went insane. You're seeing like airplanes go under like freeway on pass. Like what a dang. Yeah. Like people jumping off of like hot air balloons. And that's nuts. That dude deserves a lot of credit. And unfortunately, I don't know his name, but that stunt double was absolutely badass.
Yeah. Kenny Gibson was one of them anyway. Yeah. But yeah. You're seeing like, oh, this stuff was actually done. They did this stuff. Now, in your experience recoloring other shows that you work on, is a lot of this stuff not practical anymore or what?
Oh, that's a good question, man.
In comparison to Walker, Texas Ranger, the gold standard.
I mean, obviously, yeah, no.
Clearly.
No, VFX plays a heavy hand in a lot of the stuff we do now, yeah. If you're asking me, they probably wouldn't do the same stuff now. There's no way. There's no way I'd see a plane do stuff like that. Oh, but one thing I am noticing, though, that actually reminds me, because I think, what did you guys call it when he jumps from one vehicle to another?
A vehicular transference.
There it is. There it is. So when he did that, from like, I think it might have been a plane into a car, one thing you clearly notice is, and it was an episode where it was an evil woman driving the car.
Oh yeah, I think it's called Rodeo. That episode
there it is. There it is. Rodeo. Yeah. So at the end of Rodeo, the woman driving a car. That's one thing you do notice though, is in the higher resolution, you guys probably noticed it too, but it's even more apparent now. A dude in a wig, just like
yeah. Oh yeah, I haven't watched too much of the stuff that you did, the remastered stuff, but we did wonder if certain things become a little bit more noticeable, right?
That was it. That was it 100%.
Like that.
Okay, because we just watched one. We've been watching them from the DVDs, and I mean, you can clearly see they pasted in like a picture of the bad guy in the newspaper kind of situation, you know.
Right. So we're gonna use a scotch tape on the newspaper.
All that stuff is much more clear now at higher resolution, man.
I love it. Yeah. Man. Well, so what do you got going on now? Tell us about what your gig is, man.
Oh yeah, right now I just finished up the first season of Will Trent on ABC and got picked up for a second season. Stoked about that. But unfortunately everything's kind of slowing down a little bit because of the writer's strike. So hopefully that all gets settled soon and everything just goes crazy work-wise again.
Well, maybe you'll just have to go back and find old TV shows to work on.
There you go.
Right.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I was hoping for the Sons of Thunder.
Oh man, yeah, no doubt. There was no talk on that, right?
There was only like 4 episodes or something, right? It was basically 6 Feet Under with like martial arts.
I've never seen it. And I know there are like bootleg DVDs on eBay that I'm a little afraid to get into, but I'm like, we can't even get these podcasts out fast enough. So we gotta. Sons of Thunder is when, I'm in my 60s. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I know. I actually didn't mind the characters. I loved Carlos. I loved Carlos as a character.
Oh yeah,
Carlos was great. Trent was a total loser.
Trent,
dude,
Evan has some strong opinions on Trent.
Dude, he was just a square, man. He was just a square.
He drove a Corvette, dude. He wasn't all bad.
I mean, that's the coolest thing about him is his Stingray. Like that thing's dope, but
thing was awesome, man.
Like no way. Like you put Carlos in that car.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
they had, for God's sakes, man, they had a detective / martial arts like studio, right? One phone was like for the martial arts studio, for the detective agency.
Dude.
Yep.
But Trent, I mean, he did take out Gary Busey. Or
Oh yeah.
Or did he? No, he took a knife from
No,
Gary
he got
Busey.
stabbed in the chest by Gary Busey, which, I mean, that's all anyone would have happen to them, right? It doesn't matter who it is.
Dude, you can't,
It's a little bit of a bummer because you guys just reminded me, like, I never made it to the end of the show. So I actually haven't seen the wedding. That's another thing I didn't experience. Like, which obviously I'm sure went off without a hitch and everything went great, but no shenanigans or anything.
Right. Honestly, man, you've seen more Walker than us. The worst part about doing a podcast is I only watch the episode when we're going to get into it, and there's no Walker besides that, because I don't want to taint my experience, You
don't want to mix up the episodes either, You have to focus on one at a time.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a fine wine.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to do the roulette style thing with any other TV show, I don't think, because it's sort of like, well, maybe like Murder, She Wrote, but like, every episode is kind of like its own little thing, and there's so little continuity through the whole thing. Like, for the first 6 seasons, Alex Cahill doesn't get a promotion. And they're still like dating throughout all of that. They don't get married till the last season, so there's very little character development, and very little that builds off itself. A few returning villains, but that's it.
Oh man!
And like there are no references to prior episodes, so we've kind of hit the right format, I think, for the show.
Hey, that did kind of remind me, though. Did Alex ever win a case or no? I feel like he just lost every, like, we were like, oh, no, she's representing this person. They're done for. Like,
a clerical error. The convict was released.
Yeah. I mean, she basically Walkers it, right? So, like, if a Walker knows someone, they end up dead or maimed. And, if she represents someone, doesn't end up well.
And then at the end of the episode, Walker's like, hey, Alex, we need all the warrants you can get us. And she's like, I'll get you all the warrants. That's it.
I mean, that's the only amount of legal jargon we need to hear.
Exactly. Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Right.
Keep it simple.
Done and done.
Well, dude, I know Bob and I are watching What We Do in the Shadows, man. Give us some dirt.
Oh man. So that I actually the bummer about that is that was a great show. I only got a couple of episodes in of actually just being the assistant colorist to the supervising colorist at the time. And then the pandemic hit. And I unfortunately was furloughed, so I didn't touch too many episodes of that. And that was passed off to another super talented colorist called Ethan Schwartz. But I do love that show, man. That show is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, in shadows and coloring, I mean, you guys have a quote on your website from Joni Mitchell. Did you know that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, this is you work for Keep Me Posted, right?
That's it. Yeah.
She says, I get the same charge from juxtaposition of colors as I do from juxtaposition of chords.
You know what? She gets it.
Yeah, I was going to say that she does get it. Yeah.
She gets it.
Cool. I would think that, shadows, What We Do in the Shadows would give you some wiggle room there.
Coloring dark scenes, it's always a challenge. Sometimes it can be easier too, because you only have so much you can do. And you're like, all right, this is the best we can do. Like, get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it is kind of rewarding with actually how much you do get out of it. And when someone's like, what can you do with this? And they're like, whoa, that's a good amount of range right there.
Yeah. So for that show, right, it's all at night and they're in some creepy house. Do they just film it with normal light and then you make it dark? Or is that sometimes they do that?
No. I mean, to a certain extent, they plan for it like to, be at night so they don't shoot it. There are times though you actually do the opposite. And I did that in Walker, Texas Ranger. They call those day for night shots. So the, like the exterior of the court, the courthouse.
Yeah.
It's basically the same exterior every single time, but sometimes they need it to look like night. So you have to color it to make it look like night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. And that's something you had to do on this.
That is something
this too.
Do. Yeah. Yeah. There's also an episode where they were like, they had stars in the original broadcast. And I was like, oh man, that means like one by one, you gotta, that looked like it was done in the color room too. That didn't look like it was VFX. Like, I think when I actually spoke to Dan, the original color, she's like, yep, I just threw in like little small windows just brightened them the hell up and just made them stars.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to do that. But yeah, that was actually right before I left to go to Keep Me Posted. So I somehow...
You're like, I'm taking this job. Get me out of here.
I was like, here you go, Dan. You did it so good the first time. Here you go.
Well, man, we appreciate you talking with us about this, man. And I know, like I say, you're in LA, right? I mean, you're probably going out tonight, hitting the clubs.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, me and my 4-year-old daughter is gonna be sick. It's gonna be awesome.
Maybe some Bluey, right?
Dude, oh, Bluey is my shit right there, dude. Love Bluey.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but my niece and nephew, and all my friends that have kids are always like, "You got to watch this show. Yeah, it's actually good." I'm like, "Kids, yeah. All right, yeah,
yeah." No, that's what we all, yeah. I went from not knowing one kids TV show to now knowing every single character from My Little Pony, and
nice.
I will give Bluey props though. Bluey is good.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Well, man, where can people follow you online if they want to keep up to date with you?
Dude. My Instagram username, it's AGT Color, A_G_T_ color. And yeah, man, thank you guys so much for having me on. It was a blast, and I really appreciate it.
No, man, this is literally enlightening.
Okay,
there you go.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Trying to be colorful here.
That's pretty good.
Well, thank you so much, man. And
thank you, man.
Yeah, stay in touch.
Oh yeah, thank you guys, man. Keep up the awesome podcast, man. Love it.
Well, listeners, we hope you enjoyed this interview, and we hope to join us next time when we return to our normal format, recapping and reviewing another bone-crushing episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. In the meantime, please share your opinions with us on social media and leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. It truly helps other Walkerites find the podcast. But most importantly, we thank you for listening, and until next time. Oh, wait, Ara, could you help take us out?
May the eyes
of the
Ranger be upon you. Oh, I messed that up. I apologize.
We'll sync it up in post. It's fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
When you're in Texas, look behind you. Oh, 'cause that's where the Ranger's gonna be.